So I want to start by acknowledging last week the amazing service created by our spiritual practitioners. It was our first annual Blue Holiday service, and a space was created to hold all of our feelings and emotions, the tender, the sacred, the sorrowful, the joyful, the grief, the love, the joy, that sometimes we call bittersweet moments that this season tends to elicit, yes? Those of us who have been alive long enough perhaps have had the opportunity to experience loss in various forms. And that service was heartfelt and honest and real. And so I was able to tune in online as I was away. So I just wanted to say thank you. So let's give a little love to our spiritual practitioners, Patty and Kim and Marie Ann and Nancy for last Sunday. So our theme this month is Be the Light. And today's topic is Love Lights the Way. I want to start by defining a few of these words, because we can look at something like this and be the light and, love lights the way can bring up ideas of joy and, this idea of love being all the good in life. And being the light and letting love lead the way actually is a bit more nuanced than it may seem. So I want to reflect a little bit on this word called love. We say every Sunday that love is the answer. Often I say love is the healer. So what is love? Love is more than an emotion, more than a feeling. There's many, as we know, definitions of love, different aspects of love. So what we're talking about here in this context is what Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, defines love as: the self-givingness of spirit through creation. The impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere, which defies analysis, as does life itself. So love is not a feeling, instead it is a force to be reckoned with, I would say. It is an energy, and love requires action to be experienced, right? To allow spirit to move through us, we get to be the hands and feet of the divine. By asking, what would love do now? We can listen to that internal guidance and allow the ideas, the words, the actions to inform us on how we can show up as love in action. Ernest Holmes often said, love points the way and law makes the way possible. So what this means is that love is like that guidepost, right? Love is that thing within us that is pulling us towards the highest, the greatest yet to be. Love is that natural impulse within us to express the divine in the way that only we can as a unique incarnation of spirit. Law makes the way possible. So we say God, spirit, life, universe, whatever word works for you, that there are these two aspects, right? Love and law. So love is the self-givingness of itself. And then law is the aspect of life, of energy, of spirit that is impersonal. It always says yes. It's this law of cause and effect. So love points the way. It shows us something greater. It opens our hearts and mind to new possibilities. And law makes the way possible. So as we tune in, tap in, and listen to what love is leading us to be, do, to become, we can then harness that through our own spiritual practices and setting intentions and using affirmations, contemplating, meditating, and then the law responds to where we are placing our energy, thoughts, and attention. It says yes. And then we see that reflected in our experience of life. Love points the way. Law makes the way possible. And then there's this other word that I've been thinking a lot about. I've been noticing actually myself talking a lot about it, which is healing. What is healing? And so as I have, many of you know, been going through my own grief journey, experiencing many losses this year in my family, I've been really talking about, contemplating, practicing, exploring this idea of healing. And to me, healing is really accepting all the things that have occurred in life and accepting myself fully, right where I am, whatever is going on. Letting go of the resistance to what has occurred. It's a journey, right? It's healing. It's a process. But what I know is that love is pointing the way towards the light, and that the law is saying yes, along the journey. And healing requires grace and space to sit, to be present with whatever is occurring, to notice our feelings, our thoughts, but from a place of what some call the observer or that witness consciousness, right? There's a difference from when we are in the feels or when we are feeling, but a little bit of spaciousness by also observing ourselves as we feel, as we grieve, as we heal. Offering space and inviting in love as the ultimate healer. Healing is that integration, that process of not making anything good, bad, right, or wrong. We're moving into the time of year as we approach the solstice, where nature demonstrates this for us. That balance of the light and the dark. And it's so easy, and especially in our culture, to make the light good and the dark bad. And yet, I know if you were to ask yourself or anyone in this room, if you could go back in your life and erase all the bad things that ever happened, would you really want to? Or have those things made you stronger, made you who you are today, provided opportunities for growth and learning and healing and understanding in such a way that you can show up in service to others as a living demonstration. Because if you look around this room, we're all still here. We're here. We're showing up to life. We're not just here. We're not just sleepwalking through life. We got up and got dressed. Maybe you could be in your pajamas at home. But you probably got up and brushed your teeth at least, maybe made some coffee, and are tuning in and showing up to community to let your love and light shine. Perhaps you are showing up from a place of, it was really hard to get out of bed today, but I know that there's something happens when I show up and the love that is felt and experienced in community, right? Perhaps you woke up singing and dancing and jumping in puddles in the rain today. Wherever you are an expression of the one. And on your own path of healing and allowing love to lead the way. So healing isn't about fixing or erasing our past, but it's about embracing our wholeness. Embracing all seeming opposites of light and dark, good and bad, joy and pain. Because true transformation, alchemy, integration occurs when we can hold two things that are seeming opposites in the same space at the same time. And still show up to life, right? It is a powerful time of healing. Bless you. And nature demonstrates this by showing us the life cycle, by demonstrating the balance of light and dark, of seasons, of time to turn within, to get still, to get quiet, and to embrace all of life. So we've talked some this year about what some call shadow work, right? Navigating our interior world by being willing to shine that light in the attic of our own consciousness and to reveal in order to heal. So what does that mean? We have to see those things, those parts of ourselves perhaps, those beliefs that we have bought into, the meaning that we've made of certain experiences in our life that maybe we've tucked away because they were kind of hard to deal with. And yet, by doing this work, by exploring, by navigating with curiosity, not judgment, by letting love, the love of curiosity, shine the light of truth in all aspects of our being, even though there may be things we would much rather never see, lock away, and hide again. The only way to truly allow those things to not have power over our life anymore is by integrating them, embracing them, showing up, looking at it, being willing to heal and let love lead the way. Avoiding those things, the dark, creates inner conflict. We may be able to put on a happy face and mask and show up and be, it's all good for a while, and then our body sure tells the story and the truth, right? It starts to show up in perhaps aches and pains or nightmares, various ways. Because there is power in looking at, accepting and integrating all of who we are. Allowing love to be the healer. To know that we are strong enough to look at the past, to accept what has occurred, what is occurring in our life, in our world today, to see it and know love at the same time, to see it and know possibility at the same time, to see the war and the conflict and know peace and wholeness and harmony and the truth of light and life at the same time. And then those two powers do this magical alchemy thing energetically, vibrationally. And that's when we experience the wholeness of this beautiful thing called life. Embracing the mystery, not being willing to not understand or know it all or why things happen, it's part of life. And yet, we suffer when we are in resistance to what we see. We may not like it, and we don't have to condone it. Condone means accept it, right? I get that word confused sometimes. It's not like we have to say, accepting doesn't mean that we agree, right? And there's something about being willing to see it and hold it and to not know, yet know that something within us knows. To call upon that inner presence, that light, that love, that higher truth. And to be the space and the place and the physical embodiment for transformation to occur. I can't tell you how it happens. It's a mystical experience. A very practical example is forgiveness, right? And honestly, y'all, all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. It's forgiving ourselves for the meaning that we've made of things. It's forgiving ourselves for how we have judged things, how we have whatever it may be. It is forgiveness is not asking some power outside of ourselves to tell us that we are good and okay. Forgiveness is the willingness to let go. Yes. And yet, it's hard because as humans, there's this thing called fear. Fear, perhaps, of the unknown. Fear that if we forgive, if we love, if we accept, if we see these things that we don't want to see or we've locked away, if we move into acceptance, fear that then somehow we will be taken over by the pain, by the grief, that somehow we will be giving permission to the abuse or the horror again. But that is fear talking. Fear from the part of the mind that we call the ego that wants to be in control so that it can say, no, this is what life is. Love knows no fear. So when we notice ourselves resisting what is, resisting transformation, resisting healing, not being willing to forgive, to let go, we can open to that healing power of love and say, what would love do now? We don't need to know, but we can ask ourselves. We can trust in that inner wisdom and that inner presence to reveal itself to us through us now. What would love do now? Healing comes through integrating and accepting all parts of ourselves. And to move into experiencing more light in the world, in our life, into being more light, we must accept all. So this week, I invite you to be that conscious observer, to be willing to look at what is occurring instead of running, whether it be something literally showing up in the world in front of you or something that has been locked away in the recesses of your mind, and to sit and to know your own strength, for you are sourced by the infinite. You are one with all, and therefore you can do it, right? Because you're not going at it alone. You've got a whole community, and you've got spirit in, as, and through you. We've got your back. Spirit has your back, your front, your side, your left, your right, your inside, your heart, your mind, all of it. So call upon that and know that something within you knows. Ask, what would love do now? And perhaps even come to your knees and say, I don't know, Spirit, God, life, but I am willing. I surrender. I am willing to see, to know how to move into love. I open to grace and to revealed something new. So, are you willing to walk this journey? Yes. And are you willing to be willing when you're not willing? Okay, there you go. All right. Aaron, come on up. I'm going to speak a prayer, and will you give us a little tinkling of the ivory, so they say, under my prayer? Thank you. Taking a deep breath. So grateful. So grateful to recognize the one life that is love, the one life that is peace, that is wholeness, this universal presence that is living and moving and expressing itself in, as, and through all of life as love. Knowing that right here, right now, there is only one. And therefore I know that this one is who I am. That love is who I am. Peace, wholeness is who I am. And this is the truth for each and every person hearing the sound of my voice this day. So I speak this word now, knowing that love lights the way. That there is a strength, a power within each of us that is calling us to rise up to the occasion. We were born for such a time as this. And as we move into our own self-healing journey and reflection and integration and alchemy, I know that all ships rise with the tide. And so we raise our vibration and we say yes to healing and integrating the light, the dark, the shadow, the joy, the love, not making one good, bad, right, or wrong, releasing judgment, but instead embracing the fullness and the wholeness of life itself, expressing through each beloved being on this planet. So I choose this day to see love where my eyes perhaps have been blinded and clouded with resentment or judgment or pain or fear. I ask now to see clearly through the eyes of love, to see myself as God sees me, and to see others as God sees them. For we truly are all a reflection of one another and a reflection of the divine in expression. So I'm so grateful to know that healing is happening now, to embrace and accept all of who I am, and to love each person, each being, each creature on this journey, on this path that we are walking together with love, as love, knowing that love lights the way. We may not see the full path, and we do not need to. We simply show up moment by moment, trusting that love lights the way, and that we are forever growing and expanding on this trajectory of expansion, of healing, of transformation, of integration. How good it is to speak this word, to know this truth. I am so grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer as I release it into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, knowing it is done, it is so. And together we say, and so it is, and so it is.